We're ready.
I'd like to call this meeting to order, our statutory meeting of July 9th. Roll call. We got
Who's
no
going to do it, Ken?
secretary.
I'll do it.
Go ahead, Ken.
Attaboy.
Mrs. Kraut?
Here.
Ms. Freyer is absent. Ms. Buckley?
Here.
Mr. Kudrick?
Present.
Ms. Lanasi?
Present.
Ms. Roscoe?
Here.
And Mr. Minkevich is present.
Okay, can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next is our organization of the board, and for that I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Weiss to kind of run that for us.
Okay, thank you. As you know, part of the statutory meeting includes the nominations and election of the board officers for the year. So at this point in time, I'd like to call for nominations for the office of president. Betty?
I would like to nominate Mr. Minkevich.
I support.
And supported by Mrs. Buckley. In my recollection is that's a oral vote, right?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You can't vote, Kim.
No.
Congratulations.
5-0 and 1 abstain.
Congratulations.
Okay. Next, we have nominations for the office of vice president.
I'd like to make a nomination for Ms. Lanasi for vice president.
Support.
Okay, nominated by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Mrs. Roscoe. All in favor?
Aye.
All, any opposed? Okay. Next, the office of secretary.
I make a motion that we nominate Mr. Kudrick for secretary.
Support.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and finally, the office of treasurer.
I'd like to nominate Cheryl Buckley.
Support.
Okay, nominated by Mrs. Lanasi, supported by Mrs. Roscoe. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very well. Okay, at this point, our well-established protocol is that we now take our new seats with our newest, you'll need to take your name tag with you, with our newest board member, seated on the very end.
All right, now we'll continue with the meeting. The next item is the designation of depositories. Mr. Weiss, do you have any comments or just ready to go with these?
Sure, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Nope,
Okay.
the district will continue to do business with Comerica Bank for all of our banking needs.
Will that be the only bank?
That will be the only bank. We had an account with National City. It was an old debt fund, and we found it very cumbersome when we were trying to make transfers and to try to take money out because we were dealing with two different banks, two different accounts, so.
Alrighty, so any other questions?
No, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, we need a motion.
I move that we name Comerica to continue as depositories for our business for the coming year.
Support.
All right, we have a motion to designate Comerica Bank as our depository. The motion was made by Mrs. Buckley, supported by Ms. Lanasi. Are there any questions? If not, all those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Next item is schedule of meetings. Basically, we will hold with the practice from the past of meetings every second and fourth Monday of the month.
Okay, you want a motion?
Yes, we can
Okay,
take motion.
I will make the motion that we continue our meetings on the second and fourth Mondays of each month at 6:30 p.m.
Support.
Okay, support by Ms. Roscoe. Anyone have any questions? All right, if not, then vote is in order. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is the naming of the auditor. We need a motion for naming the firm of Post, Smythe, Lutz, and Zeal as board auditors.
I make a motion that we name the firm of Post, Smythe, Lutz, and Zeal to be our auditors for 0708 school year.
Support.
We have a motion by Ms. Buckley, supported by Ms. Lanasi. Does anyone have any questions? All right, if not, the vote is in order. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Next is the naming of the attorneys. And we need a motion and a support.
I make a motion that we employ is that Thurn firm?
Troon.
Fern firm?
Troon.
Troon.
The Troon firm.
For, in addition to the firm of Keller, Toma PC. We usually use the two, right?
Yes.
Okay, for 0708.
Support.
And we have a motion by Ms. Buckley, supported by Ms. Roscoe. Does anyone have any questions? All right, no questions, then vote is in order. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And the next item is the adoption of policies.
I'd like to make the motion that we adopt the existing policies of the Romulus Community Schools.
Do we have a support?
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Lanasi, support by Ms. Buckley to adopt the existing policies. Do we have anyone with questions? No questions, and the vote is in order. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes. And the last item on the agenda is a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn from the statutory meeting.
Support.
We have a motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Lanasi, to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes and meeting is adjourned. I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Romulus Board of Education, scheduled for Monday, July 9th, 2007, to order. Could I have roll call, please?
Mrs. Kraut?
Here.
Mrs. Freyer absent? Mrs. Roscoe?
Here.
Mrs. Buckley?
Here.
Mrs. Lanasi?
Present.
Mr. McKevich?
Present?
Mr. Kudrick? Present.
Would we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please, I'm in here.
All right, the next item is the approval of agenda. And I need a motion and support, and it also needs to be amended. If you'll notice, items A, B, C, D, E are fine, and then it started over with D again. So that would have to go to F, and then succeeding letters on down. E, the second E would become G. Then there's two Fs, one would be H, one would be I.
I'll make a motion that we approve the amended agenda.
Support.
Who do you want?
Yeah, whoever.
Roscoe? All right, we have a motion by Ms. Buckley, support from Ms. Roscoe to accept the amended agenda. Does anyone have any questions? All right, we have a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is the approval of minutes from the previous meeting. There were actually two meetings. One was a public hearing on the 25th, and the other was the regular meeting on the 25th.
So they're both going to go together?
They can go as one motion, I believe.
Okay. I'll make the motion then to approve the minutes of our previous meetings.
Support.
We have a motion by Ms. Lanasi, supported by Ms. Buckley, to approve the minutes from the public hearing of June 25th and the regular meeting of June 25th, 2007. Does anyone have any questions? All right, then the vote would be in order. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Now, I guess we go to report of the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. President. First item, I'll also be functioning as the personnel director tonight in the absence of Mr. Clark. I'll do the best I can. Anyway, we have three motions before the board. The first is to accept the resignation of one of our professional staff members.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we accept the resignation as submitted.
Support.
We have a motion by Ms. Lanasi, support from Ms. Buckley to accept the resignation as presented. Does any board members have any questions? No questions, and we'll have a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
All right, next we have, we get to, actually to recall some teachers. These are two, one is by the vacancy created by the resignation, the other are secondary positions that, that we know we're going to need. We have a firm enough enrollment commitment at the high school that we know we're going to need to fill those. And those are done in three separate motions. The first one is to recall Kim Jensen.
I'll make a motion that we, to recall Kim Jensen, science teacher at the Romulus High School.
Support.
We have a motion from Mrs. Buckley, support by Ms. Lanasi, to recall Kimberly Jensen to be a science teacher at Romulus Senior High School. Does any board members have any questions, concerns? I see none, so vote is in order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes.
I'd like to again make a motion on the recall of Malika Dixon, social studies teacher at the high school.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Buckley, support by Mr. Kuderik to recall Ms. Dixon. Does any board members have any questions? Okay, I see none. I have a question. We're adding a social studies teacher. Our enrollment, I don't think, has increased that much. Is this going to affect the elective classes in any way?
I believe no. I believe the reason that we're adding a social studies teacher is because we'd cut one, and at the time that we cut that position, Mr. Hurst, the principal at the high school, was pretty sure that we were going to still need that social studies position. But that cut was based on, discussions that we had as part of the original teacher layoffs, and again, when we made those layoffs, we were aware that there was half a chance we were going to be recalling, a small group of teachers, and that's what this is really the outcome of.
Anyone else have any questions? All right, then a vote is in order. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes.
Mr. President, I'd also like to make a motion that we accept the recall of Jessica Sorg, English teacher at the middle school.
Support.
I have a motion by Ms. Buckley, supported by Mr. Kuderik, to recall Jessica Sorg, English teacher at Romulus Middle School. Does anyone have any questions? All right, no one has questions, and a vote is in order. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes.
All right, I'm going to turn the floor over to Mrs. Pozaglu for financial issues.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. I'm recommending the board approve the bills submitted for payment for the period June 26th through June 29th, 2007, in the amount of $246,686.01.
Make a motion that we approve the bills as submitted.
Support.
We have a motion from Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Buckley, to accept the bills for payment. Anyone have any questions? Seeing none, a vote is in order. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
The next item on the agenda involves the need for the district to borrow $2.1 million on August 20th. The bad news is that the district is going to have to borrow again, as we have at least for the past 2 years. The good news is it's not as much as in the past. Secondly, the interest expense will not be as much as it has been in the past because our need to borrow this year is only for a period of 2 months versus a year as in the past. So instead of paying $160,000 of interest for a year, we're going to pay maximum at $20,000. This loan will be bid out and will be awarded to the lowest bidder. Whoever gives us the best interest rate is who the district will do business with. And the need for it at this point completely resolves to the fact that we are not getting a state aid payment in the month of September from the state. That's just the way the state operates in their funding. And it happens to be that we get $2.1 million each month, so.
Okay, Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the borrowing of $2.1 million in state aid notes for those 708 fiscal
Support.
year.
We have a motion by Ms. Buckley, supported by Ms. Lanasi, to borrow $2.1 million in anticipation of not receiving state aid until October. Any board members have any questions?
I did notice in the paper that they said Wayne County was going to be sending the city X amount of dollars and the school board X amount for back taxes. Have we received that money?
We have, but it has nothing to do with the state aid. But we have received the funds earlier than normal.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, vote is in order. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, next we need a motion to approve parking concerning the Pumpkin Festival will fall. I believe it's the weekend of September 14th this year is when it falls.
Make a motion, we approve the request for the parking, which is located on Olive, the vacant lot on Olive.
Support.
We have a motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Mr. Kuderick, to grant the Pumpkin Fest use of our property for parking. Any board members have any questions? If not, vote is in order. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
All right, next are district memberships, following organizations, MASB, Michigan Association of School Boards, the Detroit Metro Bureau, the Middle Cities Education Agency, and also the Michigan High School Athletics Association. And the one that's not listed on here that I'll be asking for later, we didn't receive their invoice yet, and it usually comes later, is MASA, Michigan Association of School Administrators. So I'll probably be bringing that forward to you either our next meeting or in August.
Are you handling these as separate motions then?
No, I think they're going to be one, can't they?
Yeah, it's one
They
one
can be
motion.
one.
We could just say,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Well, then I will move that we recommend, let me see, our superintendent to join the Michigan Association of School Boards for 2002-08, that he join the Metropolitan Detroit Bureau of School Studies for 2002-08, that our superintendent join Middle Cities Association, that our superintendent join Michigan High School Athletic Association.
Support.
We have a motion by Mrs. Lanasi, supported by Mrs. Kraut, to accept the recommendation to join the organizations. Anyone have any questions? See no questions. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now, the next item is dealing with committee appointments. We have the three main committees, the Finance, Policy, and Personnel. Then there are some subcommittees. I think probably the easiest way to handle this right now would be for each board member to list committees that they would like to be put on, and then by the next meeting, we'll have a list of who's appointed to each committee, because otherwise we might end up with everybody wanting the same committees. So if anyone can write down their choices, pass them to me, and then we'll go from there.
Oops.
All right, now, next item is homecoming update.
Real brief.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Didn't mean to interrupt you. Real briefly, we had a pretty lengthy discussion at our last board meeting. Pursuant to that discussion, several days later, I met with Mr. Hurst and also Ms. Carpenter, the teacher who's in charge of homecoming, and we discussed the concerns that were verbalized during the board meeting. And I think I shared with most of you what the outcome of that is. It was kind of mutually agreed that we would participate in the Pumpkin Festival Parade next year, and that the expectation would be that each class does have a float to present. We do, the board has renewed the sponsorships of class advisors, and those people are paid, and part of their function is to participate in the float activity. And the concerns we heard was that we didn't really want to see that float activity go away, but rather it's going to evolve into being part of the Pumpkin Festival Parade. Next year, as it happens, homecoming, I believe, is October 5th, that weekend. So it's a full 3 weekends after the Pumpkin Fest, so the school will need to kind of get their act together and get the students mobilized a little bit earlier, but they felt that that was very doable. The other advantage to this was that we'll be seeking some sponsorships from some of the local businesses to actually sponsor the class floats, and then they'll have a sign, commemorating their sponsorship and be part of the parade, so they'll have representation that way. This will be kind of uncharted territory, but we hope that will have a positive outcome for all the parties concerned as well. That was pretty much the majority of it. The other concern that was expressed pretty unanimously by the board was that that we're not going to change the grade point average requirement for participating in the homecoming activities. There was talk about changing it from a 2.0 grade point average to a 2.5, and on further consideration, the high school folks decided that we would leave it as 2.0, and we'll monitor it for next year and see how things go. And again, there are some smaller changes that aren't really noteworthy, and this is a work in progress, and it's very positive that the people at the school, students and staff inclusive, are very interested in making sure that they have a very successful homecoming. And So one of the other things that they plan on including is, because there won't be the traditional float parade right before the homecoming game, is there will be a pregame activity. They're talking about having some sort of a cookout along with a tailgate activity, and various clubs and support groups, not just limited to the high school, will be afforded opportunities to have booths and concession stands and those types of things. So again, this is uncharted territory, but we hope that we'll have a positive outcome and be as well received as the traditional homecoming activities. So we thank the board. I thank the board on their behalf for your input.
Any comments or concerns from board members?
Where's the tailgate party supposed to be at?
It's going to be at the middle school.
At the
and-
middle school?
Right, and they're talking about, taking some space on the tennis courts for
The booths?
for the booths, and possibly, we have that big grill that we take out on Martin Luther King Day, maybe bringing that over there, and a group who wants to, do a fundraiser could take charge of grilling. I'm sure they'll sell plenty of food at something like that. So it could be, if the weather's good, it could be a great night.
Yep.
What day is homecoming this year?
October
weekend?
5th.
Yeah.
October 5th, so it's still going to be 2 or 3 weekends after.
It's 3 weekends after the Pumpkin
Yeah.
Fest.
Because I've already heard a lot of concern from the community as to not having a homecoming parade. So I'm not sure how well this is going to work.
It is an experiment.
It's going to
They
be
feel
different.
because the concerns I've heard is that they feel like it's going to be like almost canceling the parade, even though it's going to be combined with the Pumpkin Festival. Is still not going to be the same. It's not going to give the kids the same. That's their parade. That's the high school's parade. It's not going to give them the same ownership of homecoming as it used to. And the other concern was if we start allowing them to make these kind of changes as to floats and what have you, next they'll want to change our mascot and our school colors. So, and then what do we say when they come up with that? Because we've let them change everything about homecoming. If we're going to let them take ownership of our parade, then I'm just
I
voicing
understand.
concerns that are out there.
You're the messenger.
Yes, and some of them I agree with. So I think it's going to be a real challenge to make this work. I'm not so sure. It'd be different if it was back-to-back weekends, but 3 weeks, that's a long time. That's a long time in between, so.
Well, I'm not a messenger, although I have heard several complaints, but I just hate to see tradition going down the tube. It's something the kids have already done. Maybe people aren't coming, maybe enough people aren't coming out, but it's just something the kids have done, and I hate to see that taken away from them, even though they're still gonna do it whenever. I don't know, I just hate to see tradition taken away.
Well, I would encourage, any of the community members that you've heard from, and maybe you can do this on my behalf, to send a note or a letter, either to me or directly to the high school, just so the high school is aware of the concerns. And again, this is an experiment. Sometimes experience is the best teacher, and it may be that we decide at the end of next year's homecoming that the changes were very worthwhile, and it may be that we decide to go back. But I think we do have to afford a little bit of ownership to the students and the staff at the high school.
The other concern I have is it's going to be hard. You're going to have 3 weeks in between for the homecoming king and queen. So you're going to have 3 weeks for them to wait and have all the kids vote again. Or not again. However, they're going to bring this court together, or however they're going to decide to do that. Then there's going to be 3 weeks in between that time period, because you're going to have your court if they're going to participate in the parade. And there's going to be 3 weeks before they actually vote on that court. So I think it's just going to be a long span of. It's not going to take the campaigning out of homecoming king and queen. Like they're trying to take the campaigning out. They're never going to take the campaigning out. I just think it's I still don't believe it's gonna work well,
Understand.
my opinion.
Thank you.
Anyone else with comments?
Mr.
Oh, go ahead.
You know, I understand what Celeste's saying, because I've heard a little bit of that, but I know anytime we do something and there's change and we do something new, so I'm willing to go along with it this year to see how things go. Maybe, you know, because change is difficult, so you never know. My only concern is the time span too. I didn't realize that there was such a big gap between, you know, the Pumpkin Festival and the actual homecoming day. So if it was a little bit closer, I would feel better about it. But I said I'm willing to try it, but to see how it works. But you know, I say change is difficult, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
And we'll have to monitor and see, but I know, you know, I know that you have a staff and a student body that's very committed. And, you know, I think that's very important too. I would hate to think that we would force them to do something that they really weren't interested in. And, you know, unfortunately, the message they received regarding the parade was that not many people were interested in the homecoming parade. And that's been borne out over several years. So I think we owe them an opportunity to try to make a better process. And it may be that it doesn't work well. It may be that it succeeds.
Maybe we haven't advertised it enough that we're going to have this parade. And maybe, you know, if we advertise, more people would come out or something. You know, I don't know.
Me neither.
I just, as I was thinking about this, I guess I never really realized about a 3-week span in there either. Are they necessarily going to show a possible Queen and Court in the Pumpkin Fest parade?
You know, I'm not sure the details of that, but I can find out and get.
You know, that might be
said
something we
we're gonna
need
do.
to check.
From
They're
what I
talking
I
about-
thought they were
understand,
going to
that's what
vote
she
ahead.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
but
that
I'm
okay?
just,
That's what they said.
because now,
Yeah.
but now they're
Doing it
talking
ahead of
about
time.
putting floats in, where originally I don't think they were even, I don't know how much they were talking about
Originally
doing
was gonna try
floats.
to avoid having the
Yeah.
floats.
Let me
Yeah.
let me
So-
But
check
you would
into that
almost
and
have to
make
have
sure.
your court in the parade. I mean, how
And,
would,
yeah,
how
but I'm
would-
just saying,
That's
I don't know what
That's part
they're,
of their,
you can, you would have
Process.
to. So, I mean, because that's going to be a short time, because we start after Labor Day, right? And that's what, the second, that
Week.
gives them what, 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Third?
Yep.
Oh, 2 weeks, is it?
Yeah, they're very aware of that short time frame.
Okay, okay. I said, I'm okay for this year. That's what I see how it
We're
goes.
going to say, we told you so, we told you so.
You know, you don't want to, you don't want to stop their creativity and
No.
their little stuff, but we need to just make sure we monitor it to make sure everything just flows.
Yeah, again, we provide the policy and the governance and the framework, and they have to have some ownership and make some of the decisions as well.
yeah, I'm just wondering, because, you know, originally, I was under the impression they were talking maybe not even having floats, you know, and things like that. So I'm not sure where we're at.
I think everything's supposed to be in there. From what
They
I
are
understand,
having the
Ken, the
floats.
floats and the court, everything, you got 2 weeks to
Floats
do
and
all
the
of
Well,
court
that.
that's
and
the way I
band and
understood it
everything.
when
if
Carpenter
I-
was talking
Carl,
about
can
it.
you just clarify? I mean, that's what I
Find
understood
it
it,
out,
so
yeah.
if you can
I'll-
clarify it
yeah,
for
I'll
us,
check
that'd be
with Dan.
great.
Because,
Get
That's
back
what
with
I
you.
yeah,
understood.
then I would see a real problem, because not, with a possible court there, then like Celeste said, you've got 3 weeks you can
Right.
be campaigning, you know, I mean,
Well, that's
Could be a-
exactly how
okay.
it would be.
Oh, yeah, big time.
do we have any other comments? Alrighty, so that ends the homecoming update there. Next item is communications and expressions from the public. I have a couple people up that have signed up. First is Molly McGlynn. And would you get the microphone and stand right up front?
I wear many hats, and today I'm going to come to you as a mother of 7 in this, that have come through this district. I just want to tell you about Tony, Jamie, and Megan, my oldest 3, who are all in college at this, well, 2 are in college, 1's in the military, that were in the parade as flyers, as scouts, Girl Scouts and Cub Scouts, as a parent and as a coach and as a scout leader and a troop leader. I enjoyed being a part of that. I enjoyed watching them. I enjoyed walking in it, and I enjoyed taking my little ones through it too. My youngest 4 also have been in it as marching band members, as Romulus Middle School marching band members, as members of teams, and it's been a real part in the tradition. being a part of the Pumpkin Fest is a different tradition to us as Romulus residents. And that's not a school tradition. It doesn't build that school spirit, that team building, and have that same impact. I'm under the impression that there are some questions about the float building, so that's the next thing I'd like to address is, as a parent of a student that's becoming a 9th grader this year, I approached other parents and asked them, would you volunteer and help? And that's a thing I've always done. I've been involved as a coach, as a parent that supports and makes the dinners for the teams, as a scout leader. And when I ask these parents, these are the names of the parents from the class of 2011 that will help. And my youngest son is a member of the class of 2009. We have a large group of parents that will volunteer and help. So I ask you to consider having a school spirit event, homecoming, and the homecoming parade, and having those memories for us to have as individuals, and having our children to have the opportunity to have their parents and them as students build a team, build a school spirit, work together. We have always had great support for businesses. I've gone door to door with my sons, Mark and Jimmy, and Maureen, and we've gotten Copez's and the hardware store. We've gotten Steers Hardware to donate. We've gotten Captain Nemo's. I can name you a number of businesses. That's already been there. We've already done that. There are over 22 parents that I have, and I hear another parent has a list just from your incoming 9th grade class. The Bailey family, 2, the DeLay family, Vons, Grahams, the Hardens, the Eccles, the LePens, McGlynn's, 3 from the Melville and Williams family, Melville and Richards family, 2 from the Orff family, Poets, Sherrows, 2, Sylvester's 2, Stone's 2, and that's just a few. That we've seen it just in the last 2 weeks. We're not meaning to be negative at all. We just want you to consider what's important to this community. It's important to build school spirit and have high academic standards and build teamwork and make kids that have memories that are important in their school year. So I thank you for listening to me. I'm a little nervous to come up and talk with you, but please reconsider what you're choosing to do, and please make it important for our kids. Thank you.
Mr. President, can I say something?
Yes.
Molly, maybe you should voice that concern to the administrators at the high school, because it came to us, and this is a plan that the kids put together to come to us for us to try to let them, do something different or improve on the homecoming. So maybe if they understand that the citizens don't want that, they still want a homecoming parade, then maybe that's the way to go, to make sure that they understand this is what's needed, because, you're one of, many parents that probably should voice their concern.
I will go ahead and send them the letter that I'm sending to you and the list of parents that I have. My son is on student government. He's expressed his concerns about losing that. He's on the e-board, and I hope that all students actually support that at the high school. I'm wondering if that is, if our community feels that way or not.
Yeah, because I was wondering, I don't know whether, if the band and all those, would they be in the parade as well with the band?
That's what
Yeah, the
she
band is
said.
always in there.
Oh, okay, I mean, would they be in the parade of lights?
Yes, yeah, they're in
Okay,
there.
Yes.
so we
They're
would still
in
have all
either way,
those,
right.
but you still just want it separate from that.
Yes. It's,
Okay, and-
it's a great memory.
Yeah, I understand that, so, but I think parents need to, if that's the way what they want, need to come together and voice their concern and say, hey, this is what we want.
Yes.
And things happen that way.
And we do not mean to be negative to the school board in any sense at all. We just would like to see that tradition continue, especially people that have been very involved in it too, and we'll give you that same support as usual.
Yeah, and as you can see, there's mixed feelings with us as well, because, I mean, we're trying to, of course, like I said before, let them do something different or try something different. And then as parents, we all had children, most of us had children that went to Romulus, so, we all were involved in that tradition.
Yes.
So I think you just need to make sure your voices are heard.
Okay, we
Okay.
definitely will. I'll
It's just
send
a
it to you and
suggestion.
to the administration at the high school.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next, we have Regina Plank.
I'm too a mother of 7 kids in this school district. I've had 4 go through. Okay. And I've been involved in float building since we came here in 1997. I mean, every year. It's something that my husband was involved when he was in high school here, and his mother was involved when she was in high school here. It's something that actually brings the generation together because it's stuff that they can talk about. And anything that can bring a parent and a child together, I am very saddened to get rid of that. Also, I have a problem. I have a daughter that is in student government. She come home very upset because they even mentioned it. There was no vote. as far as the students were concerned.
Interesting.
And it was brought to y'all's attention that the students decided this. Also, the ninth graders coming up wasn't invited to that meeting to even express how they felt. So you left a whole class, they made decisions for, somebody made a decision for. I also talked to several members of the student government. None of them can remember any vote. So I'm here to represent my daughter because she's at volleyball tonight. and, you know, and my other daughter that it should be on student government next year and everything. Also, I feel that we're taking things away from the good kids, because it's those kids that deserve the working on the float. They're the ones that want it and everything. The kids that don't get in trouble, the kids that show how we want our schools to be. And we're taking that away from them, and it's very saddening. I mean, my kid come home and cried because they even thought about taking it away. We didn't know that they were seriously thinking about it until y'all had y'all's last school board meeting. You know, it was a suggestion as far as they were concerned, and she was upset with it being suggested. So I think we need to research and see who it is that actually voted for this. Because if we're going to have them take ownership, we need it to be their ownership.
I agree.
It's true.
And I thank you for listening to me.
Thanks.
Thank
Mr.
you.
President, again, I think
Yes.
when we met, you know, our first questions that were asked were, was this representative of all the kids in school? That was my concern. Was this group representative of a cross-section of all the kids in the school? So, and I was told that it was.
Yeah, that's correct.
Just, you know, because that was my first concern.
Yeah, because I have 3 in high school. I'm very involved with kids. Ms. Buckley knows that. Mrs.
Oh, I know.
Roscoe knows that. And like I said, I've been a class parent, you might as well say, since 1997, involved with the high school. The teachers know me up there. I mean, I've done security up there. I've been volunteer what I can. And also we want our parents to volunteer. Well, most parents can't volunteer during the day, not with the financial burden that we have on families now. This is something parents can volunteer. Last year, my daughter's in 10th grade. There was 8 or 10 parents at every night at Float Building. And they enjoyed it. They were getting to spend time with their children. You know, and they may not be a huge turnout at the thing, but we also got to think, I wouldn't go to the homecoming game except my kid has a float in it, because I don't have a child playing it. And I'm not going to sit in that big crowd except my child has a float in it. And I know many, many parents that feel that way. So we're also going to cut down on what our intake is at the gate. And as far as the tailgate party, do you really want to put kids in cars?
You need the microphone.
I'm sorry. I'm used to talking loud. I'm not. Everybody that knows me knows I have a deaf husband and 7 kids, so I talk loud.
Well, Mr. President, Carl, can you take this back, some of these concerns, because
yes.
as you can see, because again, you know, that's my inclusive instead of exclusive kind of thing that I'm really, you know, up on. So I just want to make sure that no kids are left out, and if these kids feel like they're going to be left out because of not of any of this, then we need to go back.
I agree.
Tell them
What
how
was
we feel about
presented
it.
to us and to me individually too was that it was a majority of the student council, not the whole school body. It was never put to a vote before the students.
She's a member of the student government.
Right, but it was a
And I talked to
majority.
several student
It was
government
based on the opinions of a majority of the student council. I don't know that there was actually a vote. Sounds like there probably wasn't,
There wasn't.
but a majority.
understand.
But I will be happy to
Something's
reaffirm
wrong.
that because it sounds like
In
you know
Denmark.
this is a hot topic. We know that.
Yeah, I agree. We have two parents of students that are on student government. So this isn't he said, she said. These are students that actually sit on student government and are very involved. And, you know, I know both parents, and I know they're very involved. And I really think we need to look deeper into just exactly how they come to this conclusion, how did they vote on it, and before we make a final decision.
Can I say one other thing? As a security guard at the school, you don't want 3 weeks of campaigning.
No.
I mean, it's chaos the 1 week.
Yeah.
And, I mean, classes will be
Regina,
disrupted.
get the mic.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know.
I mean, this is not as a mother. This is as a substitute security guard that worked up there as detention and security. Classes will be disrupted. You will have so many kids getting in trouble. And I have a concern like that, being a mom, because is my daughter's and son's education that are in high school going to be hurt because of 3 weeks campaign? Just, that's just something.
Those are all good
concerns.
Really good concerns.
They're all legitimate concerns.
Yeah.
Good concerns.
Do we have a young man back there that wanted to speak? Can he speak?
This is Mrs. McGlynn's son.
Could he speak?
All right.
Normally
Give-
I don't.
Give us
normally
your
I
name,
don't-
please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm James McGlynn.
Have
And
a
normally
mic.
I don't, my hair, it's a little funky,
Hold the mic up, Jim.
You're okay.
Normally I don't wear it like that. It's just a summer thing.
It's summertime. You're all
I
right.
just want to have fun, Figured I'd get a mohawk, And I'm sorry for wearing my hat. It's rude, but I just, whatever. But I'm James McGlynn, and I am treasurer on e-board. And I was at that meeting, and we never really vote as I can recall, and I'm pretty sure we didn't vote. She did talk about it. She said, floats. She was thinking, well, floats. You're spending so much money on floats. Why, that you're just gonna burn, throw it on. Well, yeah, it's memories though, but it's still, you could put that towards something else. So we were talking about that, but we never said get rid of floats. She was saying maybe put it at the Pumpkin Fest and stuff. But I'm pretty sure we never voted. But the thing is, I was talking to one of my friends. She's on student government as well, and I was saying that the Pumpkin Fest is 3 weeks before this. That's in the beginning of October. School starts in the beginning of September. That's only a week after school starts. And I thought that we barely have enough time as it is, doing float, staying up real late, doing this. You only have a week. And the thing is, it's 3 weeks after you get into school. But now it's only we're gonna get into school a week, and we already have to have it built by the end of the first week of school. I mean, I don't know. That's just my opinion, But I don't know.
Thanks.
Thank
We
you.
thank
Your
you.
opinion
We
is
value your
yours.
Appreciate
opinion.
it.
Yes.
I'm glad you got up to speak.
All righty, anyone else? Then I guess communications and expressions from the public is now completed, and we go to items of interest from the superintendent.
Okay, you have in your packets for the year-end reports from one from Barth, Corey, Merriman, and also Ramel. Hopefully you've had a chance to look over those, but if not, you have the rest of the summer also. Quite a bit of information contained. I have to confess, I'm not through reading all 4 of them. I'm at the 3 out of 4 level myself, but it will be read. Good information.
Yeah. I've got 3 of them read. I always enjoy the end of the year report.
All right, next item is questions and/or concerns of board members. Any board member wishing to speak on any topic now that I see none, so I guess the next item would be the executive session. For us to convene into executive session, we would have to have a motion, support, roll call. Is there going to be any business after the executive session?
No.
All right, so
Okay, I'll
people
make
want to stay, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. All righty, go ahead.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we go into executive session.
That's for.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Ms. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Buckley?
Yes.
Ms. Lanasi?
Yes.
Mr. McKevich?
Yes.
Mr. Peter Coach, yes.
I motion that we reconvene to regular session.
Support.
Okay, that was, who supported?
Celeste.
Roscoe? Okay.
7:31.
And you gotta do roll call.
Ms. Kraut?
Here.
No roll call.
This is roll call for
yes or no.
reconvening from executive session.
Say yes.
Yes.
Say yes or no, yeah.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Buckley?
Yes.
Ms. Lanasi?
Yeah.
Mr. McKevitt?
Yes.
Mr. Kudrick, yes.
All right, the last
And
item.
I shall make the motion to adjourn.
Geez, I didn't even get to get that one out.
I knew it was
All right,
coming.
we have a motion by Ms. Lanasi, support by Ms. Buckley to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Well,
Meeting is
Sandy.
adjourned.